Hello, in today's video we're going to introduce section 6.6 on geometric sequences. A sequence is just a list of numbers that has a particular order. An arithmetic sequence means the order of the numbers is dependent on addition or subtraction. So to determine whether each of the following sequences are arithmetic, sequences is a list with an order. Arithmetic means that order is adding or subtracting. So to get from 2 to 6, I add 4. If this is arithmetic, then that means I would have to add 4, getting from one number to the next along my entire list. Going from 6 to 11, I do not add 4, instead I add 5. Here I add 6, here I add 7, so this is not arithmetic. We are adding different numbers to get from one number to the next in our sequence. In number 2, going from 3 to 1, I would add a -2. From 1 to -1, I would add another -2. From -1 to -3, I would add another -2. And from -3 to -5, I would add another -2. Another way that we could think about this is that we just subtract 2, subtract 2, subtract 2, subtract 2 to get from one number to the next in our sequence. So this is arithmetic. And that number that we add or subtract is called the common difference. So the common difference is -2. To get from 1 to 2.25, if you're not sure, we can always subtract going backwards. So if I pull up a calculator, 2.25 minus 1 is 1.25. So if I subtract backwards, that tells me that I add 1.25 to go from 1 to 2.25. To get from 2.25 to 3.5, if you're not sure what that is, then start with 3.5 and subtract the 2.25 and we get 1.25. So to go forwards, I would add 1.25. So far it looks like it could be arithmetic. From 3.5 to 4.75, I would add another 1.25. So this one again would be arithmetic with a common difference of 1.25. In a geometric sequence, we have a common ratio. All that means is that instead of adding to get from one number to the next, we are now multiplying to get from one number to the next. So for example, if I had the number 2, and I told you that this is a geometric sequence, and the common ratio, I'll abbreviate CR, the common ratio is 3, then that means to get from 2 to the next number, I would need to multiply by 3. So my next number would be 6. Then to get to the next number, I would multiply by 3 again, and my number would be 18. Then I would multiply by 3 again, and my next number would be 54, so on and so forth. If you're trying to find your common ratio and you're not sure what that number is, we can take the second number and divide it by the number before. 6 divided by 2 will equal your 3. So we can multiply going forward to get our 3 or divide going back to get the 3. We're going to determine whether each sequence is arithmetic, geometric, or neither. So arithmetic is adding the same number over and over. That number would be a common difference. Geometric would be multiplying over and over, and that number would be a common ratio, or maybe it has neither of those patterns. In A, if it is arithmetic, I would need to add a number to get from 120 to 60. Since we're getting smaller, that number needs to be negative, and it would be -60. From 60 to 30, if this is arithmetic, I would have to add a -60 again. But when I do that, I wouldn't get to 30. I would get to 0. So this can't be arithmetic. I am not adding the -60 to get from one number to the next. So let's try geometric. To get from 120 to 60, I need to multiply and I would multiply by 1/2. If I look at 60 and I multiply by 1/2, I will get 30 because half of 60 is 30. From 30 to 15, I would multiply by 1/2, and 1/2 of 30 is 15. So this is geometric because it has a common ratio, and that common ratio is 1/2. The number that we are multiplying by is 1/2. In B, if this were geometric, I could try multiplying by 3 to get from 2 to 6, but then from 6 to 11, I do not multiply by 3. 6 times 3 would not give me 11. It would give me 18. So this is not a geometric sequence. Arithmetic says getting from 2 to 6, I would need to add. So I would add 4. So starting at 6, if this is arithmetic, then I would add 4 again. But when I add 4, I don't get to 11. I would get to 10. So this is neither geometric nor arithmetic because there is no common difference or ratio. There's nothing that we add or subtract that's common difference, or there's no number that we multiply to get from one term to the next in our sequence. Go ahead and pause the video and try 1, 2, and 3 on your own. Number 1 would be arithmetic with a common difference of -4 because we are subtracting 4. Number 2 would be geometric with a common ratio of 1/8. In other words, we're dividing by 8, so 1/8. Number 3 would be neither because we do not multiply or divide to get from one to the next. Neither do we add or subtract. Now in example 2, they are telling us that these are geometric sequences. So that means that we need to determine what that common ratio is. It has a common ratio. So to get from 3 to 6, I would multiply by 2. If you're not sure, then you can start with the 6 and divide by 3 to figure out what number you're multiplying by. 6 times 2 is 12, and 12 times 2 is 24. So then to find the next 3 numbers, all I'm going to do is continue that pattern. Multiply by 2, and I get 48. Multiply by 2, and I get 96. Multiply by 2, and I get 192. So the next 3 terms are 48, 96, and 192. To get from 64 to -16, I am multiplying by 1/4. And if you're not sure, remember start at the second number and divide backwards. So that would be -16 divided by 64. And we can reduce. If I divide by 4, this would become -4/16. But I can keep reducing this all the way down to -1/4. So what that tells me, if I divide going backwards, that I multiply going forwards. So -1/4 of 64 will give us that -16, times another -1/4 would give us 4, times another -1/4 would give us +1, -1, excuse me. Then to continue multiplying, we'll find our next 3 numbers. So -1 times -1/4 would be +1/4. To get from 1/4 to our next number, I need to take 1/4 and multiply by -1/4 again. When I multiply, positive times negative is negative. On top, 1 times 1 is 1, and on bottom, 4 times 4 is 16. So this would be -1/16. I need to multiply by -1/4 again to get that third number. So I take my -1/16 and multiply by -1/4. Negative times negative is positive. 1 times 1 is 1. 16 times 4 is 64. So my third number is 1/64. So the 3 numbers are 1/4, -1/16, and 1/64. Go ahead and take a moment, pause the video, and try these 4 on your own. You can take a moment, pause the video to check your answers. If you find any mistakes, make sure you go back and fix them. Thanks so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.